Greetings to one and moreover to all, and I've got a message here from a viewer, Osbert Real Person, who says, "Dear Pete, I very much admire the tough integrity with which you disregarded the consensus and praised that Sean Penn film he did with his daughter, which everyone else was slagging off. Do you ever feel lonely in sticking to your convictions like this, or is there a kind of magnificent principle, like Superman in his Fortress of Solitude?" Well, you know what, thanks for that, Osbert. Good point. Last September, very sadly, saw the death of Roger Michell, the TV and film director who made Notting Hill among a rich list of credits, and this week sees the posthumous release of his final film, a thoroughly sweet-natured and enjoyable comedy in the spirit of the Ealing Studios, The Duke, based on the real story of Kempton Bunton, a Newcastle cab driver and socialist who in 1965 was had up at the Old Bailey for stealing Goya's portrait of the Duke of Wellington from the National Gallery, and this was in protest against the misuse of public money and to publicise his personal campaign for free TV licences for old people. The theft was quite unsolved for years until Bunton gave himself up and handed back the picture, and it made such a media sensation that there was even a gag about it in the James Bond film Dr. No. Here Jim Broadbent plays Bunton, brooding on newspaper reports that he could yet be allowed to profit from the theft. Helen Mirren is his long-suffering wife, and Fionn Whitehead plays his son.
Give them the patent, they put on an exhibition, charge the public to see the Duke and give me the proceeds. Bingo!
How much does an exhibition raise?
30,000? 50,000? Who knows? The patent's not been out the news, has it? I'll be able to pay for God knows how many TV licenses.
You're not really going to use it all on telly licenses.
Why not?
Just saying, who couldn't make use of a couple of grand?
You think Robin Hood took a rake off?
Aye.
Jackie, Robin Hood.
What if they're in it with the coppers? You give them the painting, they don't cuff up, and they shop you?
The Mirror. This is the workers' paper, Jackie lad.
How are you going to get them the painting?
I'll worry about that tomorrow. Tonight, celebration, fish supper.
This is an entirely beguiling film from what appears to be a more innocent time, a tale of muddled but essentially idealistic heroism on the part of a working-class outsider and autodidact, like J.B. Priestley without the university degree. If it really was an Ealing film, it would be Stanley Holloway in the lead role. And unlike many movies based on a Brit-pick true story, this one genuinely has a sting in the tail, a second act still to come, just before the credits, revealing a mystery that you didn't know was there, ingeniously concealed in the way the story is structured and edited. It's a bit of a treat. On now to Cyrano, about a story whose classic status has always baffled the jeepers out of me. The tale of Cyrano de Bergerac, the gallant swordsman, poet and soldier in 17th century France, with an unfunnily phallic big nose, who is in love with a lady, who is in love with one of Cyrano's comrades. So poor, tragically self-effacing Cyrano offers to ghostwrite this man's love letters to her. It was originally an 1897 stage play by Edmond Rostand, and adapted for the cinema a bunch of times, with Gérard Depardieu in 1990, and before that Steve Martin in 1987. Now it has been filmed again, this time with Peter Dinklage in the lead role, the fearless man of integrity, deeply in love from afar with Roxanne, his secret hometown sweetheart, who of course knows nothing of his adoration, and a man with himself very high standards in the matter of literature, theatre, and acting.
Cyrano.
Pleasure to meet you, Cyrano de Bergerac.
You're a freak. Freak.
I myself am a Cyrano agnostic or an out-and-out Cyrano atheist in that I've never found Cyrano, with his big nose, either funny or dramatically interesting. But now I have to admit, the casting of Peter Dinklage, the screenplay is in fact by Dinklage's wife Erica Schmidt, does in fact solve the big nose problem by abolishing it. Dinklage's nose is of normal size. His problem is his height, or more specifically, society's attitude to his height. So it is entirely plausible that he would be poignantly self-conscious about something that feels much realer and more sympathetic than a silly fake nose. I don't think I'm ever really going to get behind the Cyrano legend, but Peter Dinklage does have real charisma and presence. This week sees the 50th anniversary re-release of The Godfather from director Francis Ford Coppola and screenwriter-novelist Mario Puzo, and of course the film's own godfather, producer Robert Evans. Marlon Brando was legendary as Vito Corleone, the Italian-American gang boss who in 1946 loses control of his turf by refusing to have anything to do with the new trade in heroin. And Al Pacino is magnificent in his own way as his favourite son Michael, the decorated World War II veteran who initially wants nothing to do with the family business, but winds up submitting to his dark destiny as the only Corleone son with the strategic ruthlessness to do the job, famously becoming a godfather to his sister's child, while, on his orders, all the rival capi are being horribly slain.
Oremus, Regis Nosus, per Christum Domine nostrum. Amen. Michael, Crucis Domine in impressiones signatum, or the magnitudinous gloria tua rudimenta servans, per custodia mandatorum tuorum, ad regenerationis gloriam pervenire meriatur, per quiendum Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen. Oremus omnipotens sempiterne Deus, Pater Domini nostri Iesu Christi respice dignatus super hanc pambulum tuum Michael, qui venturus est judicari vivus et mortus in saeculum perennium. Amen. Michael, accipe sal sapiense propitiasse si tibi in vitam aeternam. Amen. Deus omnipotens Pater Domini nostri Iesu Christi, qui Dei regenerabit ex aquae Spiritus Sancti, qui de debitivi remissionem omnium peccatorum, iste te lineat Chrisma te salutis in eiodum Christo Iesu Domine nostrum, in vitam aeternam. Amen. Ego te lineolio salutis in Christo Iesu Domine nostrum, rabias vitam aeternam. Amen.
It's an amazing, epic film, often described as Shakespearean, though really without the comic or ironic elements that Shakespeare would have put in there, although Shakespeare might have enjoyed Michael's island exile in Sicily and the mention of Syracuse. There is so much pure genius in this film. The inspired musical score by Nino Rota, the production design by Dean Tavolaris, Marlon Brando raising a hierophantic forefinger like a cardinal or the Pope, while people murmur secret things into his ear. And of course that sensational opening scene, the wedding of the Don's daughter, a scene with more energy, life and detail than most entire films. A classic, probably the greatest classic of the American New Wave. In conclusion, I have to say, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I wonder if Pete is doing any online Zoom events, accessible to cinephiles the world over, to promote his book, The Films That Made Me, an edited selection of his essays and reviews for The Guardian. The answer is yes. On Tuesday the 8th of March, I'm doing a talk with clips for the Highgate Literary and Scientific Institution, and I've given the link below. Now I have to remind you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, because basically that's your only path back to self-respect. Be seeing you.